I'm here with Joacim of HammerFall to talk about their upcoming latest record, Avenge the Fallen, out August 9th on Nuclear Blast. Thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me about the record. And let me get right into it. 13 albums. Is it getting easier or is it getting harder?
I think that question kind of answer itself. It's not getting easier. Let me tell you that it's not a struggle, but it takes a lot of effort to reinvent yourself after 30 years as a band and album number 13. Because still, we need to stay within the frames of HammerFall, kind of within the rules that we set ourselves from day one. But at the same time, it's challenging, I would say, that you put a lot of pressure on yourself to really come up with something that is great enough to end up on the album. I think Oscar and I could probably write 10, 12 good, okay songs in 2 days, but that's not good enough. That's not going to end up on the album. You need to go into your darkest place to find these melodies or riffs or lyrical things that you haven't done before and that will make a difference, because somehow you need to make a difference and to show people that, hey, this is not just an album for HammerFall to be able to go on tour. This is an album that we will tour, and that's a big difference.
And speaking of going into that darker place, who are the fallen that you guys are trying to avenge?
I think it's up to the listener a little bit, who because everything is so personal when it comes to the lyrics and how you interpret things. When it comes to Avenge the Fallen, it's the song start. If we go first to the song Avenge the Fallen, it starts kind of after the riff, it goes down into like this ballad mode. And I sing, what is the worst? Be the one who died or be the one who survived? So I think that is a very, you have to think about that for a while. Like, okay, do you want to be the last of your kind, or would you want to go with the others?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you have a voice in this case, you should make yourself heard. If you're the last person left, make a difference. In this case, it's Hector. He's breaking out of the chains that kind of holding him down, because he's kind of on one side you have the evil dudes, on the other side you have the good people, heaven and hell. And at the end of the day, now I'm just going to jump. Probably going to answer all your questions in one answer here. In this case, Hector breaks free because he gets inspiration from both sides. I think that is how it works. You need, in order to have darkness, you need to have light. In order to have light, you need to have darkness. It's dualities. Everything is about dualities. And now he just fed up that, okay, I hear you, but I am the person who's going to make all the decisions in my life. So now Hector is the last of his kind, and he's going to do the best out of it, and he's going to avenge the people that kind of took out his crew or his gang or his whatever you want to call it. So I hope that makes any sense.
No, there's a philosophical tone to it, and I agree with you when it comes to the good versus the evil. I mean, you cannot have one without the other. How do you define what is good if there's not something that it's evil that counterbalances it, and vice versa?
Exactly. I think that is you need it's called dualities, right?
Yeah. You need that duality that exists between the two. It's like,
Yes.
if you don't believe in God, but you believe in the devil. I mean, if the devil exists, the God has to exist, and vice versa. One does not exist without the other. It's
Exactly.
impossible.
Exactly.
You talked about you guys can make a couple of like 10, 12 songs in 2 days, not good enough to be on the record. When you look at the sound on this record, every song is good enough to be on the record. So what makes these ones good enough to be on it?
I think that the moment if you take one song out of the album, you're going to miss it. There's something missing. I think the concept on this album lies within the music, that all these 10 tracks are needed to make this album whole. It's like a brick wall. If you take away one of the bricks, it's going to be unstable, and then maybe it's just going to collapse, just going to fall down. And that is how I see this album as well, because every song is there for a reason. And like I said, if you take one song out, you're going to feel like, okay, it's a good album, but there's something missing. At least that's from our point of view.
So is that going to, does that have an impact then when it comes time for you guys to pick the singles? Because honestly, when I looked at this record, any song could have been a single. It's that kind of a balanced album in terms of the quality that it puts forward. Do you guys look at the singles in terms of, okay, we want to showcase the record, but we want to represent it properly? Like, what is the thought process?
I think that's a pretty good review you just gave us there, that every song is a potential single. Uh, it's really hard. I think the first song, you need to please the fans a little bit, but also at the same time, you have the fans already. So should you maybe do something that you would attract some of the people that are not really into HammerFall? They know about us, but maybe they lost interest 15 years ago and didn't really haven't really given a thought about HammerFall for such a long time. But I think it's hard. We discussed this, like, what is the first single? But the second we were done with Hail to the King, I felt, you know what? I saw it also a way of, okay, what song can we make a bombastic video for? Hail to the King. I mean, that is kind of the perfect song. And also, I think showcases HammerFall, kind of the strong, it kind of shows a very typical HammerFall composition with the riff. You have the big choirs in there, very melodic vocals, and the song kind of takes you on a journey that is over before you even. It's like a roller coaster, you know. It feels like, oh, it's over in like 30 seconds, but no, it was like 3.5 minutes. Like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Because I think that was a good choice. Then, of course, we had discussions, and you need to. we didn't do that for many years. We didn't really listen to the record labels. We said, no, we're gonna decide. Like, yeah, but you know what? We really want to have this single. Like, no, it's not gonna happen. It's our choice. Like, but then, like, wait, the label is not our enemy. They're there to help us. So now we listen to them. They say, you know what? You don't have to do a video for it, but we really want to have Freedom as one of the singles. Like, okay, well, I trust your judgment. It's a great song, but I didn't see that as a standalone single. But
Like I said, all of them. I honestly, I felt that way. When I looked at this record and I go from song to song, it's like an anthem built album. This album, to me, every song had that anthem vibe, almost arena rock and roll, big sound, big presence on every single song. It's always been part of the HammerFall style, but this album, I felt like it put more focus on that approach. Is that your favorite style of HammerFall song to sing in, these big anthem style tracks?
yeah, it's many of our songs are considered being hymns, and that's at least how the label like Nuclear Blast always says. Yeah, it's another album, packed with hymns, because that is kind of the way we want to present ourselves. There's also a way to invite the fans to sing along when it comes to live performances, because they know exactly when Hearts on Fire comes, they know when to sing, because when it comes to this like choir anthem type of choruses, they're going to sing. So it's kind of an invite also for them to be part, because without the audience, you're nothing. And you kind of need the audience to take part in the songs, to take the songs to the next level. I mean, to make the live version even better than the album version. Because if you're just going to stand there and play the album version, you can just actually stay home and listen to the album. No, because you really need to add something else. You need to add some extra energy. I mean, when we hit the stage, we give something to the audience, and they take it and they give something back to us, and it's bouncing like this throughout the whole show. The worst that can happen is if you go out there and the audience doesn't feel, they don't feel anything. then it's just gonna be like someone is dropping like a giant anchor, and it's impossible to get anywhere. So no, it's the anthem type of songs. It's so HammerFall, and I
It
think
is.
now
And
with
this
album,
record really, even the softer songs, even a ballad on this record still has that anthem feel to it. I just felt it was really predominant on this album.
yes, I think it's like you said, this is predominant, especially for this album. And we also went into the studio deciding. I mean, in the past, we called our friends. Like some dude in Los Angeles came, a friend. He can't sing, but we don't really need people that can sing. We just need someone to shout along to make it sound like a football choir, like an ice hockey, chant or something. But for this album, we used only real singers because there were so many parts that actually you needed to have some sort of a knowledge. You need to have some sort of singing skill to be able to actually make the melody, to make the melody sound like a melody, not only like a big,
Yeah.
if you know what I'm saying.
No, I
So
get
I
it.
mean, yeah. So I mean, that's why we have like John Bush, Armored Saint, is doing a lot of the backing vocals. Mark Lopez from Metal Church is in there. We have Jake E from Syra, with the singer from Dream Evil. We have Howie Simon, who's the guitar player now he's out with Winger. He's doing with Alcatraz, also a fantastic singer. And all together in the studio, oh my God, this was magic, man.
I can
Fantastic.
imagine. I had no idea you guys had that sort of you know uh, power behind you, if you will, with all of these voices. It definitely changes the dynamic, and it helps with this more elaborate anthem, big arena style sound. Because it's not just screaming at the mic, it's not just a bunch of voices put together. I felt like this album had so much texture in the sound and the vocals, and that adds to that overall big stadium feel.
Yeah, exactly. Because every kind of choir part is built on a melody. It's not only like straight notes. Because then a real singer I would never be part of a choir like that because I would lose my voice. I need to have some sort of like a melody going on. Otherwise, it's just, no, this is not for me. This is not for me.
And speaking of your voice, you sound phenomenal on this album.
Thank you.
You're like a fine wine. You're getting better with age. Do you have to do things differently now in order to be able to sustain yourself and to be at the level that you are?
Yeah, it's. I think we talked about this before. Like for the past now 11 years, I've been really taking care of myself, about my body. I'm out running every week, 25 up to 30 kilometers. I'm trying to eat well. I haven't had a piece of meat for 11 years. A lot of vegetables. I eat fish, of course, because you cannot tour South America without eating fish, because then you're just going to end up eating salad and drinking red wine, and that's going to, you collapse eventually. No, I'm taking care of my body, because my body is my instrument. And also what we talked about before, that when the band hits the stage, you need to add something more than just the playing skill. You need to perform. And HammerFall as a band, we're moving around, running from one side to the other. And if you're a singer running from this end of the stage, from stage right to stage left, and you start to sing, people don't want to hear that. So that's also one of the benefits of running as much as I do, that I can do this run and my pulse goes down in like split of a second. Go down. And then I can sing without catching my breath in between every second word I sing. So also, I think I'm singing a lot with my head, relying. I'm not in my head when I'm singing, because that's a different thing. But I'm using, at least. I'm not just going with a passion and just go for it. No, I have to rely on my technique, because if I'm going to do 11, sometimes in the US, I think we did 13 shows back to back without even a slight of a break in there. So to be able to do that, I need to take care of my body. I like to drink champagne. I love to drink wine, but I should not be the person who closes the party. I should not be the last man standing at the parties.
You'll be the first one in and the first one out. So
Yes.
making the party really short for yourself. I think it's interesting what you said about being able to run. So it almost feels like cardio plays a huge factor in your own
Yeah.
vocal performance, not in the studio, but live.
Yes, it is. I refer to it sometimes to it's a heavy metal aerobics, what we're doing on stage, you know. Because I mean, it's a lot of movement. It's a lot of running around. In the studio, it's different. And I think in the studio now, I have my window where I can perform because I know my body, I know my voice, and maybe the window is getting like a little smaller and smaller and smaller with age. Like 20 years ago, I could work for 6 to 8 hours a day with one song, just pushing it to be able to really to find these special qualities in every little word, because back then you didn't have computers either, so you needed to perform everything. And of course, you can't really fake that anyway. It's not fake. That's not the right word. But now the window is down to maximum 2 hours, 2 hours a day in the studio. The previous album, which was recorded during the pandemic, Hammer of Dawn, my window was like an hour, 20 minutes, hour, 30 minutes, because I've been home for 1.5 years, not doing anything. So when it was time for me to wake up the vocal cords, it was like, oh, shit, maybe I should have practiced a little bit before, but I didn't know how to practice. But practice to me, that's being on tour. And we couldn't go on tour. And sing at home, nah, too boring. So I joined like a cover band, and we rehearsed and we played some, Aussie songs and some Dio songs. It was fun for a while, but it was not HammerFall. It's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be on stage to push and actually. If you in the rehearsal room, maybe I'm on 40%. On stage, I'm on 100%. Singing at home in my studio, rehearsing 20% because there's something on TV and like, oh, I need coffee. Do I smell coffee? It's
The distractions.
distractions. Oh no, I need to vacuum the floor now. Heart's on fire, and I need to do this now. All these distractions.
There's always something.
Always something.
When I was listening to this album, and I've been listening to you for a very long time, such an incredible vocalist. I'm sure people approach you and ask you for advice when it comes to their own vocals and their own vocal performance. But the question I have for you is, what's the best advice that you've ever received?
That I have ever received. I mean, I met so many, so many great people when I studied vocals and music in Los Angeles. This is like 30 years ago now. I'm not sure who said it, or maybe I told myself that I might not be the best singer in the world, but it's not about being the best singer in the world. It's about finding your voice, finding your identity. Because if I say, I want to sound like Bruce Dickinson, like, why? There is already one Bruce Dickinson. Find your own voice and do the best with what you have, what you got. I mean, you have some horrible singers that are billionaires because they have it. Yeah, they have it. They have something that is so unique. The moment they open up their mouth and start singing, that's him. I'm not going to mention. I know you want to hear names here. I'm not going to mention anyone by name.
No, it's just it was always it's to be a singer it's such a demanding role because if you're a guitar player, you can have a cold and you can still go on stage and play, but when you're a
Yeah.
singer, you don't really have anywhere to hide. Like you're a lot more exposed to the elements, and I think that takes a much bigger toll. And for you to be recording 13th album with HammerFall and still sound like you're recording your first record with HammerFall, I think it's a testament to the quality of the work that you have done and how you've taken care of your instrument.
No, thank you. Yeah, it's true. It's and I want to be. I'm not ready yet. I still have a lot more to give.
Another 13 more.
Let's take one at a time here. It's painful getting out of bed sometimes. Now at this age.
And
No,
we all
it
know
goes back.
you cannot
You wouldn't
record
know.
vocals in bed. Too many distractions.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Uh, but it all comes down to one thing, to one word, and that word is fun. When it's not fun anymore, it doesn't matter how good you are at singing, how good you are at playing your instrument. If it's not fun anymore, do something else. And that's something that me and Oscar are talking about. You know what? As long as it's fun, we're going to do this. When it's not fun anymore, mm-mm.
It's interesting that you use the word fun, because a song like Rise of Evil, that has such a negative connotation to the title alone. How do you guys write a song, Rise of Evil, and make it so much fun?
It's the artistic freedom of. I mean, it's fun to tell people a story, no matter if it's like a gory story or if it's like a rom-com story. A good story is a good story, and this is I mean, Rise of Evil is about what we were talking about in the beginning. Like, take inspiration from wherever you want, heaven, hell, but always follow your heart when making the final decision. Heaven and hell in anguish, fighting tooth and nail for Hector on the artwork. Rise of Evil is actually the artwork. If you look at the artwork, and yes, it has a lot of the lyrics actually describes what's going on.
It's one of my
So
favorite songs
everything.
of the album, by the way. I think it's one of the catchiest songs on the record, one of the hookiest songs on the record. And I love that fact that you have a song, like when you're looking at the track listing and you're like, oh, the next song, Rise of Evil. And then the song starts like, wow, I didn't know evil could be this much fun. Like, if evil is this much fun, I'm all in. So it has
Yeah,
that
evil can be
incredible
fun.
dynamic to it.
Yeah. And they have captured the dream like a little happier.
When it comes down to your life these days, what is the one thing that you must do by any means necessary?
My cup of coffee in the morning alone. I need to start my day. I need my coffee just to wake every brain cell up, and every part, every limb needs to crack. Like I feel like a zombie in the mornings now. But after that cup of coffee, that's like like lube for the joints.
Are you a big coffee connoisseur, or you just want coffee?
I'm a big coffee drinker. I don't care what it is. I'm you know what? I'm drinking instant coffee in the mornings because I don't have a coffee maker. I have this like Nespressos, but I think that's kind of just expensive. It works for like an espresso, but I don't want to have an espresso in the morning because then it's done in like 1 second. I want like a big jug of coffee with some oat milk in there. And like, yeah, here we go.
You want to savor it.
Yeah, of course, champagne is very important also, but not in the morning. That's for a different time of the day.
Now, do you like mimosas or no?
No, I really, yeah, but then if you put champagne in a mimosa, you're gonna get executed. For that, you do prosecco or something like that. Champagne should not be mixed with anything else. No, 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 no. Real champagne. Oh my God, it's so good.
I think the problem is I haven't had real champagne. Maybe that's my problem.
That is your problem. There are some good sparkling wines too, of course, but it's never. I mean, champagne. If you get some good stuff, it's not comparable with anything else.
Wow, I've never heard anybody talk about champagne with so much love as you.
That's me. That's me. It's an important part of my life.
Next time
It's on the rider. It's on the rider. We have champagne on the rider.
Do you?
And it has to be champagne from the district of Champagne in France, not champagne from Russia, from California, or any place else in the world, because you can't call it champagne unless it's from Champagne now, which is a good thing.
Wow, I didn't know you had that. I was going to say next time you're in Toronto, I'll bring you a bottle, but now I'm afraid of buying anything because nothing would meet the requirements.
There's a good not champagne, like sparkling wine from outside of Toronto, like south of Toronto. They do a sparkling wine, and when everything is done, they add a little of this ice wine, this
Ice
the
wine.
sugary. Yeah, so that is what they add to it at the very end, and they put the cork on it, and that's really really good. I'm actually a certified sommelier, so
Wow.
I did that during the COVID. I needed to do something, so I had my
The,
diploma and yeah.
the amount of skills that you have is unbelievable.
I
You're
mean, we
like
all
a
have.
Swiss knife in a person.
Yeah, but we do have a lot of time in our lives. We should, instead of just sitting doing nothing, you can pick up a book, read about something that you know that you're interested in reading about, or watch a documentary, or yeah,
Yeah,
drink
and
champagne.
educate yourself, basically.
Exactly, exactly. You're never too old to learn more.
I agree with you 100%. Joaquin, thank you very much for your time today. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to you. As always, I'm looking forward to this album coming out because that means there will be some sort of an announcement of a forthcoming tour. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in North America again very soon. See that cardio on stage is always it warms my heart because I couldn't do half of what you guys do. I get tired just from watching, never mind doing
And then when we come back to North America, I'm going to ask you when I see you how your first glass of real champagne tasted.
We'll do
So now
that.
you have to go out there.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
no, you've
Sounds good.
set the bar. You've set the bar for me. I've been doing this wrong all along. So
Yes.
I have to try it and then we can trade some notes.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Take care,
Awesome.
man. All
Nice
the
talking
best.
to you. Take care. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.